You want to be a writer. You want to write a book. You want to have a stack of books by your bedside table with your name on the inside flapped. Flapped? Flap, sorry. Okay. Alas, your writing habit is about as consistent as your flossing habits. Now sometimes it's really hard to consistently write every single day when you have school, work, family stuff, and especially if you're like me where I'm picking up a new hobby every 2 minutes. So sometimes writing falls to the wayside because I'd rather play guitar, I'd rather sketch, or I'd rather lay in the bed and stare at the ceiling, or anything else besides writing. So you might write your novel for like a week when your motivation is high, and then you lose interest and then get interested in something else, and then you stop writing for like a couple months, and then suddenly you have this new passion to write this new story. Then you start writing it on a totally different story and write that for a couple weeks, and then the whole cycle begins again. You're in this constant loop of just starting new stories, leaving them behind, starting a new story, leaving it behind, on and on and on. So you're not really getting anywhere in your novel. A novel you know you could have probably finished in 6 months if you focused on it. Now it took like 3 years. You need something that'll make it so that you can't not write every single day, not the other way around. And the piece that I was missing that was keeping me back from consistently writing every day was accountability. Because you may say like, hey, I want to finish this novel before Christmas, but it never happens. But when a teacher tells you to finish this essay by next week, sure enough, next week that essay is done. Because it wasn't really willpower that kept you writing that essay until it was finished. It was the teacher's accountability. She was the one that was keeping accountable to make sure your essay was finished. But we don't really have a teacher making sure we finish our novel about a superhero who loves blueberry pancakes done by Christmas. So how can we keep ourselves accountable? How can we put in place things that will make sure we do stay accountable with our novels? So today I'm giving you 12 easy life hacks to make sure that you write every single day for the rest of your life, guaranteed. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to receive more from me. But for real, these 12 tips really do help me write consistently every day and keep up my habit of writing. Because when I don't use these 12 things, I'm more likely watching meme compilations, not writing. Number 1 is to identify what's worked before. Now we've all done some things that were pretty difficult for us in the past, whether that be writing an essay or studying for a test or training for an athletic competition. Whatever it was, there's always something that was keeping us accountable to work at it day after day. It could have been like this looming deadline, or like these consequences if you didn't complete it, or family members constantly reminding you every single day to work at it, or not wanting to disappoint yourself or somebody else. So think back to a time in your life where you consistently worked hard to achieve something, worked day after day until you got there. And then identify exactly what was keeping you accountable. Some things keep some people accountable and other things keep other people accountable. It sometimes varies from person to person. If that one thing that kept you accountable in the past, it will probably keep you accountable with writing. Number 2 is to have a deadline. If you did the last step and identified all the things that kept you accountable to achieving something in the past, most likely one of those things was a deadline. And as much as deadlines are universally despised, they do get the job done. Sometimes if I don't have a deadline, not only does it take a long time to finish it, but it doesn't get finished at all. Yeah, it's a good idea to have a deadline. When do you want to finish your first chapter? When do you want to finish your first draft? Write it down on your calendar so you make sure you don't get distracted by other things, because you know you have only a limited time to work on this and to get it done. Now this might sound bad, or you don't want to do it, but I recommend setting it a little bit closer to the present date than you're comfortable with. That deadline should be uncomfortably close so that you doubt whether or not you can make it. And that fear will give you the push to work at it every day. And then actually take this deadline seriously, like it's a deadline to an essay or to a test or to some events. Try to resist the urge to keep on moving it to the future every time it starts to get close. Quick tip to make sure that you take it seriously is to tell somebody else, whether it's a friend or family member or somebody online. Just tell them like, hey, this is when I want to finish my first draft. So it's not just you that knows that, it's somebody else. So then you take it a bit more seriously. So you don't want to disappoint yourself only, but you don't want to disappoint somebody else. Number 3 is to have accountability partner. Just letting yourself down usually isn't enough to keep us accountable to writing our novel, because at least for me, because I let myself down every day. We won't miss a promise we made to a friend, but then we fail to do the same thing with our writing or any other personal task. But if somebody else is keeping you accountable, if somebody else is making sure you get that thing done, most likely your chance of getting it done skyrockets. So yeah, take advantage of this. The more people you can tell, the better. Tell them when you're gonna finish your first draft, the exact dates. Then ask them to regularly check up on your progress. It could be every day or week or month or milestone for your writing. And then in turn, you can help them keep accountable for something else in their lives. So it's goes both ways. So it's not just dumping the work and yelling at you if you didn't finish that first chapter by the end of the week. It's also you helping them out with whatever they want to stay accountable with. When there are people who have expectations of you, then suddenly all your excuses magically disappear. Like a little healthy external pressure can be really motivating. Number 4 is to write with somebody. Now this type of accountability will almost guarantee that you write consistently. You can write together at the same time or swap back and forth between chapters or write from different point of views in the story. Either way, writing with somebody is my favorite way to write because you get to bounce ideas off of each other. Plus, if one person gets stuck, the other person can help them out. Like if you skip one day of writing, your friend will be sure to let you know, like, hey, why didn't you write your chapter? Why didn't you write your part? Why didn't you do your part? What's going on? Should we not do this anymore? Now that you're part of a team, you gotta keep up your part. If the possibility of your friend disappointed, feeling betrayed, breaking off the friendship with you doesn't keep you accountable and consistent with your writing, I don't know what will. So ask around and try to find a friend who's interested in stories or writing and try to ask the question of, hey, wanna write a novel? If none of your friends are interested in writing and decline your little invitation, then another option is you can go onto the Kindlependent forum and then ask in there, like, hey, does anybody want to collaborate on a story together? I'm sure there's at least a couple people who would be interested. Like you could share a Google Doc together and you could bounce back ideas with each other and then assign one character to one person, another character to another person, and then those could be the 2 point of views in your story. So if you're at all interested in joining the Kindlependent forum, the link is always in the description. So yeah, there's probably at least one writer on the forum desperately wishing for a writing partner to create amazing stories with. So yeah, that's a great option if you want to join. Number 6 is to use a habit tracker. Now you probably heard of a habit tracker. It's just a simple, fun way to track your writing while also kind of gamifying the process of creating a writing habit. Now the most easy way to have a habit tracker is to print out a calendar and then cross off the day where you did said habit, whether that be writing or some other habit you want to get consistent with. Or if you want a more decorated one, there's probably tons on the internet. You can just look up habit tracker templates and there's probably tons you can choose from and print out. Or if you want to make one of your own, you can just type in habit tracker ideas. There's probably tons of great ideas you can get inspiration from and you can make one yourself with some paper, pens, and markers. When you have a beautiful habit tracker in your notebook staring at you from your desk every single time you pass by it, it's hard not to be reminded that, oh, I gotta make sure to write today so I don't miss crossing off one of the dates. The longer it gets, the less you want to break the chain, because maybe if you get to day 100, then if you break the chain then you have to start back all the way at day 1. That would be a tragedy. Number 6 is to share progress on social media. Now this tip was probably the most helpful for me last year when I wanted to draw one full sketch every single day. So I created this little Instagram social media account under a fake name, and then I was like, in my description I wrote, I'm gonna be posting one sketch every single day for an entire year. So that's what I did. People were expecting me to draw and post a sketch every single day for the year of 2020. This really kept me accountable because you can actually see the dates of when it's posted, so you can really check back and see if I actually kept my promise of drawing and posting a sketch every single day. Now, without this social media account, I probably wouldn't have lasted even a month, because I had all these people expecting me to post a sketch every single day. Even if it was midnight, I made sure to draw a sketch, good or bad, so I could post it so I didn't miss a day. So you can do the same with your writing. And in your description, you can write, I'm gonna try to write X amount of words each day or X amount of time each day, and then post daily updates. Now that you have all these followers watching and cheering you on to make sure you write and share daily progress each day, you wouldn't want to fail in front of them, right? I sure didn't with my drawing. So this was what helped me so much with that. 7, blog or even vlog your journey. Much like the last point with social media, you could create a blog made just for logging and sharing your progress of your story. Sharing how much you've written, what you're struggling with, what helped you, and so on. Announcing to the world, aka like 50 people, that you're committed to writing this story on a blog or vlog makes writing feel much more like your duty, responsibility, and purpose. Number 8 is to track daily word counts. There are few things in life that are just as rewarding as seeing consistent progress on something that's important to you. Doing the simple task of tracking your daily word count is an easy way to apply this to writing. A spreadsheet or an app like Wordly is a great way you can visually see your progress. Over time, you'll start seeing your word count get higher and higher as you get faster and better at writing. It will feel rewarding as well as keep you accountable. It's another great way to gamify the process of writing, so you'll be excited to get back to your work in progress so that you can beat your last day's word counts. Number 9 is to join a writing community. Writing is pretty lonely. It's just you sitting at a desk or couch or bed, just typing away in an imaginary world. So this loneliness can make it kind of a pain to show up to write every day. But by joining a writing community, Kindle Pen writing forum, you no longer have to be a lonely writer. Whenever I'm on the Kindle Pen forum, I just get so inspired to get back to working on my work in progress. But first I have to finish telling this person that Avatar: Last Airbender is the peak of American cinema. When you get to talk with other like-minded writers about your story and their story, it makes you so much more motivated to get to work on your work in progress. The people in there like encourage you, help you out with any problems you have, motivate you, and act as accountability partners whenever they check up on how you're doing with your work in progress. So if you've been debating whether or not you should join the Kindle Pen forum, take this as a sign to come join us and share the progress of your story. Number 10, have negative consequences. Like deadlines, these are not really fun at all, but again, they definitely help you make sure you do get your writing done every day. For somebody, this could be like doing a chore for somebody else in the family, or doing burpees for 3 minutes straight, or reading a chapter from a book you absolutely despise. Whatever you absolutely do not want to do, have that be the negative consequence if you don't write that day. Because, sometimes consequences are more motivated than rewards. So find out what makes you motivated to not want to miss your writing time. This could even be simply as the feeling of kind of regret or remorse that you feel once you've missed that end of the day, like when you get to bed and you're like, oh man, I haven't written today. That could be even your negative consequence. Whenever you don't feel like writing, remember how you feel when you go a week or a month without writing and you feel that, oh man, I went a whole week without writing. Just remembering how you felt when you weren't consistent with your writing, and then also remembering how you did feel when you were consistent with your writing. And that will help you choose to write so that you reap the good consequences and not the bad consequences. Number 11, schedule your writing time. This one is probably what helps me most with writing every single day, because you block out a time where you only write. So you kind of make sure you get everything else done at a different time so you have that time to write. Because usually what keeps you from writing is everything else getting in the way. Either that or not feeling motivated. But if you have a set time every single day where you write, then it ensures that nothing else gets in the way with it. Well, almost ensures, unless something super unexpected happened. But majority of the days it's clear to go for writing every day. Because time just doesn't show up. You can't just sit around and wait for some time to write. You kind of have to make time. You kind of have to make sacrifices, let go of certain things, so you do have the time to write. Now, if you're having trouble finding time to write every day, then I recommend for a week, track every single thing you do. Everything. So you can get a clear view on what you're actually spending your time on every single day. Track the time you spend getting up in the morning, track the time you spend watching that trailer for the new show coming out, and even track the time you spend eating leftover pizza from the fridge. Everything, every single thing you do, just track it for 1 week so you can get an honest and real view of what you're spending your time on. If you're absolutely brutally honest with how you're spending every single minute of your day, you probably can find some times where you're wasting some time. We all do it. We all waste time on something, 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there. All this wasted time slowly adds up throughout the course of the day or week. When you write an upcoming schedule for the day, block out a time solely dedicated to writing. And just a little tip to make sure you get enough writing done is to block up a little bit more time than you actually need to get writing done, because more often than not you may show up to writing late or something unexpected happens, so you have to cut it short. So if you have a little buffer room, it helps make up for the little extra time that was cut off. So say if you want to write for 45 minutes, block off an hour so that nothing will derail you from making sure you write for those 45 minutes. Is it number 12? Set an alarm. Now this one is super simple and really easy, but honestly, really makes a big difference that I never expected. Our memories are far less than perfect, especially mine. My siblings can testify for that. But thanks to our phones, we don't have to be. So set an alarm on your phone for the time you scheduled out for writing, labeled either writing or the name of your novel, or even aren't you forgetting something? Label it something that grabs your attention every time it's time to write. Now you don't have to worry about your writing time flying by without you even realizing it. Okay, so those are the 12 tips that help me, the crazy sporadic writer, write consistently on a daily basis. I know from experience, probably too much experience, how disheartening it can be to have this dream of finishing a novel, but you never actually get to write, no matter how much you try to force yourself. Relying on grit and willpower may work for a couple of days, but setting up some accountability strategies will last so much longer and will have you writing from the feeling of inspiration and motivation, then the feeling like you have to find some pleasure in a chore. Now you don't have to do every single tip on this list. I certainly don't every day. So I recommend just choosing 2 or 3 that stand out to you the most and applying it to your daily routine. A little bit goes a long way. Each word you type is one step closer to writing a great novel. So I have a couple questions for you that I'd love to hear in the comments. Which one of these tips are you most likely to try out first? And also, if you have any accountability tips of yourself, I'd love to hear them as well. So if you have any, then let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Take heart, be courageous, and keep on writing.